So we do this because I know, as a youth, I don't know everything I need to know about life. So I look to my elders for wisdom and guidance for that. And as Brother Kerry said, I enjoy finding little particular clips online that, I know that some of my elders don't see every day, or can't see. I enjoy just bringing that out. And it's funny that I walked in on the topic of self-defense in terms of, what's needed, what should we do and what shouldn't we do. And, we hear all these stories about, us and firearms, and it really doesn't work our way all the time. You know what I'm saying? In fact, we don't even have that many stories where it works our way. But I do have one clip where I want to show where it worked our way. And, I want you to pay attention to every detail in terms of how this brother handled the situation. Because I felt like, we have to be, we have to see things like this. This brother took the proper procedure in terms of what you do when you have to use your firearm. Bear with me, this computer a little slow.
Go to window up top.
Shooter. In this video you're about to see might explain why.
Katie Jones spending hours earlier today piecing together what happens in this video moment by moment.
A group of friends walk into a Waffle House in the early morning hours of January 5th. Right off the bat, you can tell something's off. Surveillance video shows a shirtless man, later identified as Dakota Fields, gesturing at someone or something. From another camera angle, you can see two men, Gerard Williams and Jorge Hernandez, sitting at the restaurant counter. According to a detective's incident report, Williams stated that Dakota Fields was yelling racial slurs at them. He then told the waitress to hurry up because it was time for him to go. Surveillance shows one of Fields' friends, Robert Black, approaching Jorge Hernandez and then shakes his hand. Black then tried to do the same with Williams, and you can see he has his hands crossed and shakes his head no. Robert Black then punches Williams in the face. Williams backs up and shows his gun. Seconds later, Dakota Fields runs back into the restaurant, charges at Williams, and then Williams pulls the trigger. Fields was shot 3 times. He and his friends then leave, and on their way to the hospital, their SUV crashes with another car. Fields was pronounced dead on scene. Documents show that after shooting Fields, Williams set the gun on the restaurant counter and called 911. He told the operator what had happened and that he acted in self-defense. He also had his concealed carry permit. When questioned by detectives, several other witnesses inside the Waffle House say Fields and his friends were acting drunk, confrontational, and unruly the night of the shooting. When Dakota Fields' friend Robert Black was interviewed by detectives, he told them that Williams had reached for a gun when he tried to shake his hand. Surveillance video showing that never happened, and he later admitted it was a lie. Katie Jones, Fox 4, in your corner.
And again, confirming what was in that police report because they did a number of interviews. Got friends initially saying that when Williams reached for the gun, he was actually trying to do something more than that. And as you saw, the surveillance video showing it never happened and did admit, in fact, it was a lie to detectives.
Well, tonight.
Ted, just imagine that had not been on tape, right? What the outcome would have been, but I respect the brother on how he handled the situation. After he shot the peckerwood, he laid his gun down and he followed proper procedures. You know what I'm saying? And again, when that happens, it's a lot of adrenaline happening. I mean, I've been shot twice, and I've done things I don't even want to confess to. But I understand the adrenaline and, how you not think at those times, split-second time, split-second moments. So I think that it's vital to have a Pistols and Rifles Club where we can, practice that. We can, acclimate ourselves into what we do and what we don't do. So that's just one of the clips. We're going to move on. As you know, earlier, about a couple of weeks, I made a proposal in, taking babies and trying to teach them the same tactics, but just using BB guns and sort of, and I kind of misspoken when I spoke this up because I caught this clip and it was, my jaw dropped, at the level of skill that these white babies is. I mean, we fish food compared to some of these white kids, man. I mean, AR-15s, they with the scopes, and here we don't even want our babies to have, water pistols. So I just want to just bring some information.
Many parents of young children want to keep them away from guns, but a growing number are now actually putting guns into their kids' hands. But why? Here's Nightline co-anchor Juju Chen. Line is hot. Everybody's got eyes and ears on.
Hey, these girls are grade schoolers. Most are still losing baby teeth.
Nice!
But home on this range, outside of Austin, Texas, playdates require serious firepower.
Tell them what her name is. What's your rifle like? Barbie? Is it because it's pink? Yeah?
Vanessa is one of 7 pint-sized shooters attending what's called the Little Girls Youth Training.
Put that safety down. Good girl.
Part of a growing trend promoting shooting sports for kids.
When I shoot, I think it's so much fun than doing anything else. That's my room.
Vanessa's just 7, but the gun industry is looking for young shooters like her to ensure growth in the future.
Pay
When you
attention.
teach kids that young, you take the mystery out of the gun. They know to respect it if you teach them to respect it. Okay, so
Nikki Jones leads the Austin Sure Shops, a women's-only shooting club that runs the other industry-sponsored organizations pour tens of millions of dollars every year into youth shooting programs nationwide. But should children this young really be trusted with potentially lethal
Millions
force?
of dollars.
So what we always start with are the 4 basics of firearm safety.
Nikki begins with the fundamentals.
Rule number 1, treat every firearm like it's loaded.
Golden rules of shooting that the girls, who range in age from 6 to 11, seem to have down cold.
Don't point your gun at anything that you're not going to shoot or destroy.
A critical lesson, since once, almost every hour in America, a child or teen is injured or killed by a gun, often fired accidentally by other children.
What made you think, okay, she's 6, she's ready to try this? She has seen the weapons in our gun safe, and she was asking questions. That for us was an important time to utilize that to educate her.
So if you drop your magazine,
Some liken it to playing with fire, but Vanessa's mom believes training with guns will actually make her daughter safer. She keeps several guns, including Barbie, locked up at home. The star of the event is 9-year-old Gia Rocco, who shoots like a regular Annie Open.
Good. Give me 3 on the right.
Skills that Nikki says are about sportsmanship, not self-defense.
We don't teach them to shoot on barricades. We don't teach them to clear rooms. We don't teach them what happens in a carjacking. I mean, it's pure sport.
And for a promising sharpshooter like Gia, training doesn't stop here.
You want to take us into the trailer?
Oh, sure, yeah.
The next day, she and her dad invite us over.
Well, this is where we clean the gun. That's the art table.
The art table next to the gun table. Nice.
Gia still loves her Legos and her pet spider.
I don't like, princesses and stuff. I'm not a princess.
But hold the tiaras,
Effigies rifles.
How many do you have in there?
these are clearly her prized possessions.
Wow, that's like an arsenal.
This one right here is my favorite. That's my 8-shooter.
What do you call this one? Your love gun.
I love guns.
It's got hearts all over it.
Yes, it does. All of my rifles and pistols.
There's a lot of people looking at this will scratch their heads and say, why does a 9-year-old girl need all these guns and rifles?
Well, they all have different uses. I mean, like some competitions, practice, ski.
The gun business is booming, with sales spiking even after Newtown.
That's an AR, obviously.
But analysts say that's because those who own guns are buying more guns. Overall, national surveys indicate gun ownership is decreasing.
This one.
Young hotshots like Gia represent a demographic that the industry considers vital to the future of gun sports. She has a fan page and her own industry sponsors.
Stand by.
Gia, with a college scholarship.
That's what I'm talking about.
or even Olympic gold. And when she isn't training, her dad says her guns are strictly off limits, kept locked away, even though Adolfo believes Gio would never disobey him.
Man, I would bet my life that she would never touch a gun that she wasn't supposed to. I would bet my life on it easily. Right?
Right.
Well, now when you're ready. Shoot her ready.
But critics argue that's a risky bet for most parents. Training and trust may not be enough to prevent accidents. Kids and guns, they say, simply don't mix.
Kids are impulsive, and you can't teach that out of a kid, right? You can't.
Dr. Denise Dowd helps write policy for the American Academy of Pediatrics. She says kids' brains aren't mature enough. They lack impulse control.
You can teach them, they can parrot back, but they should not be in independent control of that weapon.
In her Kansas City Children's Hospital alone, there are 30 to 50 cases annually. Tragedies, she says, that are entirely preventable.
You don't trust your kids 100% of the time, especially when it comes to something that is so high risk.
Our colleagues at 2020 put the question of impulse control to the test with a series of hidden camera experiments. These boys and girls in Florida are trained to never touch a gun without an adult. They even memorized the NRA's popular Eddie Eagle safety video.
Now stop! Don't touch!
But when left unsupervised with real unloaded weapons hidden in plain sight, nearly half of the boys act on impulse. 8 out of 23 of the girls do too.
Oh my gosh, why is there some that?
Instead of calling for an adult, they play with the weapons, sometimes mistaking them for toys.
They're not real.
This pink gun is called the Cricket. Manufactured by Keystone, it's one of several rifles on the market designed to appeal to kids.
Dude, that is a real gun. It's not funny.
Nearly half of guns in this country are not locked away properly, and guns accidentally kill kids in the U.S. 10 times more often than any other developed country in the world.
How many times does it have to happen before people say it's enough? It's enough for me. It's enough for me. I didn't choose to sacrifice my child to this. The children and I keep a watchful eye on his candles.
Jody Sandoval keeps a memorial for her son Noah in her Columbus, Ohio living room. He was just 14 when he and his best friend Levi were playing at Levi's grandparents' house.
Levi found the gun behind the television. He removed the clip and he pointed it at Noah and he fired a shot. He didn't realize there was a bullet in the chamber.
Listen as his shaken 14-year-old friend is questioned by police.
And the bullets fly and everything, I was holding my hand and I pulled the trigger and I thought it hit the wall and it hit him.
Throughout his interrogation with police, Levi has no idea his gunshot was fatal.
Do you think we should tell him what happened here? I do too. No, it didn't make it. It was dead.
Levi pled guilty to reckless homicide and was sentenced to a year of probation.
His baby blanket.
Noah's mom, Jody, says she doesn't blame Levi for her son's death. During trial, she even asked the judge to lower his sentence.
While Levi made a horrible, terrible mistake, it wasn't an accident that a gun was left out where it could have been stored and locked away.
While 14 states have safe storage laws, which studies show reduce accidental shooting deaths among kids, Ohio has no such law.
It would take one person from the horror of what my family and I are facing. Just one. It's enough.
The NRA, which turned down our multiple requests for an interview, has repeatedly opposed such laws, saying they infringe on gun owners' rights to effectively protect their homes. But the organization does recommend that guns should be stored securely until ready for use, making sure that they're not accessible to children. Back on the range, safety is always a top priority for the Sure Shots.
I have to say, all of you were very safe.
Youth Training Day ends with diplomas.
Really neat.
And a very memorable class photo. It's clear these kids and their parents believe deeply in the right to bear arms at any age. What remains unclear is whether this new generation of shooters will bring new life to a $30 billion industry.
Our thanks to Juju for that report. Does teaching children to shoot guns make them safer? Tell us at Nightline.
On tap. Peace. Yeah, that was just something to think about. this next clip is, reflecting on, freedom and liberation for black people, of course. Frederick Douglass had roots in Rochester, New York. He did a famous speech in July 5th entitled, "What Does the 4th of July Means to the Negro?" So I chose this speech seeing how we getting over, the 4th of July, and a lot of us celebrated, a lot of us might. But to not get misconstrued on what the holiday meant or what it means to us. Because as they were having this holiday back then, we were on the cotton fields picking cotton. So it really never started out to be our holiday. So I want to go back into some of the words, or it's just a little skit, in terms to remind us where we at. And I want us to visualize our state. Are we better off since he made this speech, or are we worse off? Because these need to be the questions to be answered. So we're just going to go with Morgan Freeman's reading on what does the 4th of July means to us. And it's really creative how they put it, little animation. I feel like I can let my son watch this and he get the same type of vibe he gets. So I like being creative.
What did the American slave do your 4th of July? To him more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings with all your religious parade and solemnity are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States at this very hour. Go where you may. Search where you will. Roam through all the monarchies and despotisms of the old world. Travel through South America. Search out every abuse. And when you have found the last, lay your facts by the side of the everyday practices of this nation, and you will say with me, for revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without rival.
Okay. That's particularly for the veterans. As you know, my grandfathers and my uncles fought for this land, in return to be treated no better than the speech that Mr. Frederick had in those days is valid. So, I'm taking questions. If not, I'll just close it.
Just want to quickly, Mr. Frank Marcellus,
right,
was in ACP.
Right.
This is the only thing, this is one of the first things I heard him speak on with any kind. But this was that Frederick Douglass speech.
Right.
It was 2 years after the Fugitive Slave Act.
That's right.
It was signed by Miller Fillmore with a statue down in front of City Hall.
That's right.
And our neighborhood named Fillmore.
Miller Fillmore, hospital.
Yeah, hospital.
That's right.
So the Fugitive Slave Act was that it's simple.
That's right.
Any white man come and arrest any black man and accuse him of slavery.
That's right.
When they go to court, if the judge say he's slave, you get $10. If you say he's innocent, you get only $5.
Wow.
That's what the law was.
Wow.
Any white man can prosecute, can deputize any white man to say this man is a slave.
Wow.
But he was freed since the beginning of the country. They got all the blacks going back, putting all the blacks back in the slave. That's what the Fugitive Slave Act was. Any white man go up to any other white man and say, come with me, this man is an escaped slave.
Right.
The white man had to go.
Right.
If he didn't go, he can be charged.
That's right.
That's what this means. That's what all this present white folks thinking they got control of black. That's got its roots in that.
That's right.
The Fugitive Slave Act.
That's right.
So they see fit.
And think about how arrogant these crackers was. They, go to Frederick Douglass and ask him to make a speech, regarding the 4th of July. And Frederick Douglass is almost taken back, like, me? you know what I'm saying? So, they already, in their minds, they already thought they had an Uncle Tom. Even in their minds, they didn't even think like, well, he might be opposed to this. They went with confidence and asked Frederick Douglass to make that speech. But I'm glad he made it the way he made it, because now it reigns supreme. It's history. So I want to thank y'all for having me.
Brother Shank, one more question. If you don't answer this, what became of that young brother that shot the white boy? What was the outcome of that? Did he actually have to go to trial? Was he charged or anything?
He was not charged.
Really?
He was not
Did
charged.
he do any jail time, a day or two? Or anything
They say he was probable cause.
No, I missed
self-defense.
Where did that happen? I missed that.
No, I have to go back into it.
Oh, okay.
I'll go back to this. I'll let you know before. Okay. But yeah, he got off scot-free. All right. So they say. But Hotep, thank you. Peace and love.
Thank you.